Hey sugar buns, you know what today is? Well, we've been together about a month and a half today, and I want to brag about our relationship to the world. You've been pretty good to me over the last few weeks.
Relax, sweetheart. Relax.
I mean, sure, I think about Trooper 7. She was my first. I knew every inch of her insides.
Please, babe, stop! Ow. Please.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I've spent a lot of time inside of you as well.
Do you love her?
Baby, sugar biscuit, honey buns. There's a reason I'm with you and not her.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna tell the world about the good and bad of our relationship today. What is going on, Stallions? Welcome to the gamer heaven. If you've ever talked to your PC when nobody's around, go ahead and hit that like button. So the Alienware Aurora R11 I have owned for about a month and a half now. Now, if you have an R9, 10, 11, or 12, they are very, very similar. As far as the case or chassis, as Dell Alienware likes to call it, basically the only differences is in the CPUs. So I want to talk about the pros and cons of ownership after about a month and a half daily use with this thing. Honestly, she's been running about 24 hours every day. I mine for about 14 hours a day when I'm at work or sleeping, and then whenever I need to use my PC, obviously I stop mining and do my 4K video editing, my gaming, streaming, whatever I need to do productivity-wise, and then start mining again. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Kevin, that is incredibly bad for a PC. Au contraire, mon frere. Allow me to retort. I actually left my built PC Trooper 7 on pretty much 24 hours a day for 2 years straight, and it's still plugging away absolutely phenomenally. I would basically mine with that PC, then do my streaming, video editing with it. That has since been sold to my brother-in-law. Check him out, Refined Legends on Twitch. And he still loves that PC, does all the same things I did with it, zero issues, and that PC literally has years of life ahead of it. But a lot of that durability and long-term longevity came to the fact that it was cooled very, very well. Now, the stock case or chassis with the R9 through R12 is not fantastic. I do have a playlist on this channel where we did some easy and inexpensive mods, such as adding a second intake fan and doing the thermal pads on our 3080 graphics card to basically lower the internal temperatures, as this is a relatively small form factor case. And the ventilation isn't great. There's not very good stock airflow. But after making those cooling mods, this PC is fantastic. I have no worries whatsoever about keeping this thing running 24 hours a day, mining with it, gaming with it. Basically ultra settings in every game that I've played thus far, as it does have a 10th generation i7 overclocked to 5 gigahertz. It is water cooled, and then also a 3080 graphics card running on stock clock, and then pretty aggressively overclocked RAM as well. So cosmetically, I think she is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I know looks are completely subjective. Some people might think a PC is hideous, other people might think it's gorgeous, but for me personally, as it is my PC, I'm the one that spent the money on it and I have to stare at it every day. I personally like the jet turbine look. I think it looks really awesome. I think the controllability you have over the RGB or LED lights with the 4 independent lighting zones that you get inside of Alienware Command Center, it just looks good. I think it's a good looking PC in my opinion. I also do like the design that they had the 120mm exhaust fan on the top, not the back, because where I place my PC up against the wall like that, I do think that's better for cooling, as the air is just dissipating upwards and then dissipating into the ambient temperature of my room instead of just blowing hot air into the corner of my room. Now, going from a custom PC to a pre-built, there is a little bit of bloatware or programs that you're going to want to uninstall right out of the gate. So a lot of Alienware's pre-installed programs, like if you're never going to mobily use your cell phone to connect and play games mobile through the Alienware Mobile Connect app, you can ditch that. Alienware support, after you've registered your MOBO or the serial number to get your warranty activated, you can go ahead and uninstall that. I do highly recommend using ACC or Alienware Command Center. I do have a full tutorial tip to tits of that program that is linked in the description below. That is a super beneficial video for any Alienware Aurora owner, as I do go through the entire suite of customization that includes underclocking, overvolting, setting up the lighting, setting up fan curves, setting up profiles for games, lighting profiles, even that little cheating feature where basically you get an extra mini-map overlaid into your game that shows you where sounds are coming from. So some of the things that I really do like about this PC. One, it has a shitload of USB ports, 14 of them to be exact, and that does not include the additional USB-C port on the front, which is super convenient considering I now do have a VR headset, the Oculus Quest 2, which I do play linked to the tower, so I can play Steam games like Half-Life Alyx, and the fact that it does have a USB 3.0C port on the front is very nice for connecting a headset. Also, killer Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which I am going to make a separate video on, because to me, I was just thinking that's a stupid marketing gimmick name. You know, it's got killer Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It's actually some of the best Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity I've ever experienced. I do think Dell has a pretty good suite of cards in there on board for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Now, granted, I am connected directly via Ethernet, hardwired, but I have tested the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity, and it's really good. Now, as for performance, my previous PC had 32 gigabytes of RAM, a Gigabyte 2060 Super, and a 3600X from Ryzen air-cooled. Now, this basically every component in there, minus the RAM right now, as I am on 16 gigabytes, is a huge upgrade. I have a 1000-watt power supply versus the 600 bronze that I was running in my previous PC. I have a 10th generation i7 overclocked to 5 gigahertz, and then I do have the 3080, which is a powerhouse of a graphics card. And the CPU is also water-cooled with the Dell AIO, or all-in-one cooler, which actually runs pretty good. I will say, with this case, you definitely, guys, do not want to go air-cooled because the CPU fan is directly up against the PSU, or power supply unit. There's nowhere for that air to go, not to mention it increases noise in there because it's blowing air directly onto this metal plate, which is dissipating everywhere inside the case. You definitely, when you're doing the builder online to create your Alienware PC, you definitely want to make sure that you just get the water cooler, because down the road you're going to want to upgrade that anyway, and it's actually cheaper just to get it out of the box. So thus far, I have zero issues when it comes to the performance of this PC. I obviously do 4K video editing in either Adobe Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve 17. I'm going to be making a video in the very near future as to my experience switching from those two editing platforms and kind of the pros and cons for you YouTubers out there, or streamers that are trying to make compilations and montages using that editing software. But thus far, I have no complaints. I've had zero issues. Granted, it's only been a month and a half, so I can't really speak on the long-term durability or longevity just yet. You do have a 1-year on-site warranty where basically a technician will come out to you free of charge as long as it's something within the scope of the warranty and it's not something that you caused directly. Granted, there virtually is no way for them to tell that you've been mining with your PC, especially if you uninstall your mining software before the technician gets to your house. Granted, if I have any issues with this thing, I mean, I prefer to build PCs. I'm going to take the thing apart, do some troubleshooting myself, see if it's a loose connection or if the MOBO got damaged or something like that, and then try and fix it myself. But if I can't, it's nice to know that I do have that warranty, and I did also get an extended warranty and about $250 off my PC because I am active duty military. They don't advertise on their website anything about military discount, but they do offer one. It's 10% off your purchase, so make sure if you guys are military, or I think you might even be able to stretch it if you're a dependent or have a military family member, like a parent. Basically, you just send them a picture of the military ID and they will knock off 10%, which is huge when you're buying a $2,600 or more expensive PC. And that's another thing I kind of want to roll into is the price for performance when buying a pre-built, specifically an Alienware / Dell. So obviously pre-builts are relatively expensive, but not right now, especially because the price of retail graphics cards and CPUs, you're not going to pay retail MSRP, especially for the 30 series cards, like the AMD cards, like the 6800 or 6900 XT, the brand new Intel CPUs that are coming out, Tiger Lake, the 11th generation CPUs, even some of the Intel 10th gen CPUs, which I have in here, are really hard to come by. Some of the higher end flagship AMD CPUs, well above MSRP. If you do have a local micro center in your geographic area, I would recommend checking them out, as you have to buy them in store, so it kind of avoids a lot of the scripts and bots of scalpers, which is really nice. But honestly, buying a pre-built is a solid way to get all brand new components, and then you can just sell your previous PC like I did, which kind of compensated some of the purchase costs. Not to mention, if you do have a 3080 or 3090, I do strongly recommend you mine with your gaming PC. That is just my personal recommendation. It's not, you don't have to do anything you don't want, but I do recommend you do it safely. I do have a ton of tutorials on this channel going over how to undervolt or slightly underclock your CPU to where you're basically maximizing your hash rate, so you're getting the most profit for your electrical costs, but you're also lowering your temperatures too, to where it's not going to do any long-term damage to your card. If anything, it might chisel a little bit off the back end life of your card, but by then you'd probably have upgraded that component anyway. So for me personally, I'd rather get sheer performance, highest frames per second in game, and highest hash rate while mining, knowing that, you know, I probably won't have this rig for 8, 9, 10 years, probably more like 4 to 5, which I'm sure this thing will still be plugging away at. Now, working on this PC isn't too bad. It is a little bit tight inside the case. They do have a swivel mechanism on the power supply, which makes it kind of tight to get to things, and also there's not a lot of room on the bottom if you're trying to expand with SSDs and whatnot. Your case is going to be pretty full, and it's something to take into consideration, heat dissipation, because this only comes with one 120mm intake fan. It's not enough. You're going to want to install a second one. We did that that on this channel, and it definitely, you'll benefit from it. So let's just get right down to the nitty-gritty squeeze of titties. Quit tiptoeing and stepping around it. Is this PC worth buying? Do I think it is worth buying a R10 AMD CPU, R11 Intel CPU, or R12, the new Intel CPUs, the 11th gens? I would say personally, yes, especially because Alienware/Dell runs promotions on these all the time to where these are insanely comparably priced. Like for $1,200, you can get one with like a 3060 Ti in it. If you're going for the 3080 or 3090, those are generally in the mid $2,000s to $3,000 range. But again, considering, if you look on eBay right now, 3080s and 3090s, we'll just say the 3080, people are asking like well over $2,000 just for that graphics card, when you can buy an entire PC, sell your old PC, and the performance of this, especially once you get the cooling in line, which we have done, is a pretty damn good PC. And again, I love the looks of it. I personally think it fits my setup, my theme here, pretty dang well with the whole Stormtrooper thing I got going on. I think it just looks super futuristic and super sleek. Again, just my opinion, but I think a lot of you guys probably feel like that too. As for noise, there's zero coil whine, and there is pretty minimal fan noise, even with the stock fans, but after we did change out the front fan, it actually sounds pretty good. But if it is a little bit noisy for your taste, you can replace the stock fans with something like Cooler Master or Corsair silent fans. That will help out a bit. But thus far, this PC has struggled absolutely zero with anything I've thrown at it when it comes to video editing, crypto mining, and gaming, as well as streaming. So thus far, I am very, very satisfied with our relationship. She's been good to me. And every once in a while, I might look at her hot friend. You know, I don't want her to see, but, you know, I might peek at what's out there. I'd be like, ooh, that's a nice-ass NZXT. That's got a sweet rump on it. Or, damn, that custom-built PC really tickles me in the nether regions. But honestly, she's still my main bae. She's still what I come home to every night and still satisfies me every evening. If you guys have any questions, which I'm sure you will, drop them in the comment section below. That is the section for you Stallions and Stallionettes to get a forum, a conversation going, and I do jump in there all the time. I tie up my Nikes tight and I jump into the conversation. I am very active with my community here. I usually cuddle up in bed with my dog watching Netflix and go through my comments every night. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more content like this, liking the video helps it to get seen by more people so this can reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content around the Alienware Aurora R11, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.